Hey guys, welcome back to Galgorm Hall for this update for September 2018. This update will concentrate primarily on work I've been doing in the goods yard on the branch line. You'll see some of the work being done in progress and some thoughts and ideas that I have for moving forward in that area. There's very little work has been carried out elsewhere in the layout. I have really concentrated on this month. It's at my usual pace of go slow, so progress may not appear to be that prolific, but it's progress nonetheless. So you'll see that, you'll see the couple of other wee bits and pieces that I've been doing as well, and that'll more or less make up the update. I've tried to include a few little running shots as well during this video, as I have done in some previous ones. It's not something to be honest, I get an awful lot of time to do, but somebody had asked for a little running session a few weeks back. I sat for an entire evening trying to put something together, and as usual, you know, you sit down, you try and do these things at that particular time, and faults occur. Whether it be a derailment or coupling issues, that sort of thing. So I threw the head up. I've kept some of the bits and pieces, and I thought I would just intersperse it in here with this update instead. One other thing I wanted to mention before we get into the actual update video is a couple of weeks ago, David from Strathpeffer Junction sent me one of these. Now this came to me completely out of the blue. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't win it in a competition like some other people have. It just came to me in the post, and it was a nice wee surprise to receive one evening coming home from work. But it got me thinking. I watch some of the guys in America on their YouTube channels, and it may not be railway related, but it's model related in some form or another, and they talk about shop cards. I'm sure you've come across them yourself, and it got me thinking that it might be a nice little idea to produce something very similar to do on the side of the water. So based on what I've received here from David, I went out and I ordered some magnets of my own, and I have produced this. I picked up about 20 of these from Vistaprint. No, sorry, 25 of these from Vistaprint, and I think they cost me just under a tenner, and that was postage included. So what I thought is if anybody would like one of these, just get in contact with me and I'll send one out to you. And I thought it might be a nice idea just to give, it's a form of shout out, I guess, to other people's channels, but it's also just maybe a way of communicating and getting in touch with each other and sort of expanding the depth of the hobby, rather than just the normal updates and running sessions, that sort of thing. Nice to throw something maybe extra into it. So this is my version of a shop card based on David's idea, and if you'd like one of these, just get in touch either through the comments below or preferably through my Facebook page, which will also be in the description below, and I will happily send one of these out to you. Now I only have approximately 20 of these. I received 25. I want to hold on to a couple of them for a few people that I have in mind, but if anybody else would like to get in touch with me and take one of these or ask for one of these, please do so. I'd be more than willing to send it along. Alright, so that's a little bit of admin for this month. Other than that, at the last looking, I was getting very close to the 500 subscriber mark. It would be great if I could push beyond that 500 or hit that 500 and beyond. If I do reach it, I've been trying to think of something special to do for it. I had thought of a bit of a giveaway or that. With these magnets coming through, maybe I'll just absorb that into a bit of a giveaway and just do it early. If I reach the 500, happy to. Maybe I'll not reach the 500, and I'll be sitting languishing in the high 480s, you know. But here, do you know what? Have 480 of you guys sitting watching my channel. It's quite incredible. So with that, look, I've been rambling on enough. There's enough rambling is going to appear on the update itself, so I'll cut this now here, Thank you again to everybody that subscribed in the last month, much appreciated, and I hope you enjoy the update that's to come. So until the next time, enjoy your modelling, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye. Okay, I just want to talk to you a wee minute about the goods yard. I've turned my attentions to this for the time being, just to get away from doing some of the track ballasting and working at the plaster bandage. I sort of feel if I stick with one job for too long, it begins to get a little bit mundane. So I've been having to think of this about this goods yard. If you remember a while back in one of the previous update videos, I showed you the Will's Craftsman's kit, the brick goods yard, and the intention was that I was going to build this and use it as the building that would serve the goods line. So I opened up, had a little look at it, and I have discovered I think it is a little bit too big. Well, it's not too big in terms of the footprint. If I use one of these Will's sheets, according to the instructions, this is the footprint of the entire goods shed, which is fine. You still get access in behind. It doesn't take over the entire area of the goods yard. But then once you add in the walls, which again is one of their plates, you soon get an idea of the size of the actual building. And once you add the roof on top of that as well, what we're probably bringing it up another inch and a half, I'm sure, at least, on top of that. And I just began to think, I don't know, is this the right thing to be putting in here at all? So I had a wee think, and I've decided I'm not going to use that. What I have decided to do instead is, with it being a country station, it's not necessarily going to have a big facility, but what it will have is a platform. And I've done the initial construction, or the initial build of that platform. So again, it's the same as what I've done for the main platform for the station. It's a card structure, completely enclosed, and what I will do now is apply some brick to the front of it and round the sides as well. Now the front I will probably do exactly the same as what I did with the station, with the little detail along the tops and the vertical sort of detail as well, but around the sides and the back in particular will just be a plain sheet of brick on it. So if that goes in there, again, now it's actually a little bit larger in terms of the footprint than what the goods shed would have been, but it leaves this whole area open. There's an access ramp at the far end, should there be any sort of large goods that need to be taken off by hand or by a trolley. And what I will do at this end, once everything else is put in place, I will add a little set of steps. And the reason for that is so that the guys working on there can go and gain access to the goods shed, or the goods office, the goods yard's office, should I say. Now this was a little build that I was going to do for the other side of the layout. It's actually based on an old mess hut that was used in the local station many years ago, now no longer there, and just a grainy black and white photograph to work off from to get an idea of how it looked. Initially I had only the one window fitted on the end. The rest of the building was completely empty, or sorry, completely blank wall. But I've included an additional window here because my thinking is that this hut will sit just around about here on the edge of the yard, so that drivers, lorries, that sort of thing can come in, get their paperwork, lift their particular wares. They can pull their lorries up along the side of the goods platform and unload. And what I'm also going to do, I think, possibly on the end section here, if there's enough space, or maybe just a little bit further down, I'm going to add a yard crane. I'm currently looking at either probably the Wills or the ratio kit to use for that kit, for that crane on this here. I'm going to pop out to the local model shop in the next few days and have a look and see which one I actually prefer, whenever I get my hands on actually looking at them. So that's the plan. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go away and I'm going to carry on building this, building the brickwork around this platform, and I'll carry on working on the little shed here. Most of the work's done on it, and unfortunately I don't have any sort of progress to show on this. The most recent thing added was the tiles on the roof, and I had considered doing a little video and showing you how to produce the tiles, but it was fiddly work, overlapping all the bits of plastic card, and I felt it was just going to be more awkward than anything else, you know, to try and record that. But I may do something like that in the future with a more straightforward build, something, you know, just a straight roof section rather than this what is it, a hipped roof. But anyway, I'll go ahead, do a little bit more and come back to you with the progress. In terms of the road surface in and around this area, having had a little bit of feedback from the previous video when I asked for your opinions, there was mixed results. Some said cobbles, some said just an apron of cobbles around the goods yard, or goods shed as it was at the time, and others said just gravel. I'm still swaying around towards an entire cobbled scene. I think it'll just sort of set it off quite well, and if it's done with a certain amount of overgrown areas to it, it'll break it up and maybe not look just so uniform and just so pristine. So there we go. There's my thoughts at the minute on the goods yard, and I'll come back to you whenever I've got a little bit more progress done. Okay, some further progress on the platform. I've completed the build of the sides. Plastic card and all's been included, including the little details on the front side only. The rear, or so the sides and the rear, are just a plain effect right the way around. But one of the reasons I wanted to stop here before I go any further is the surface. I've applied a tile grout skim right across this, and if you compare it to the platform for the actual station, you can see the difference that makes. We lose all the joins, particularly along the sides. This one here didn't have any joins going across, it was one sheet of card, but certainly the joins at the side are all gone now, and whenever this is painted it will look much better. To get that nice neat finish to the sides, that it's not encroaching on your brickwork below, before applying the skim, I put a strip of the Tamiya masking tape right round the edges. That tape's excellent for any sort of modelling work, much better than standard painter's masking tape. It's a very low tack adhesive to the tape, so it doesn't affect any of your painting that maybe would get lifted off with a tackier masking tape. So anyway, apply that whenever you get the skim on and you're satisfied with it, take the masking tape off at that stage and you'll be left with a nice neat run. Now I'll need to reapply the masking tape here for the painting, but so that's the next stage. So we'll go on ahead and do that and we'll come back later on. Okay, so this platform is more or less complete, at least the basic structure of it. I've finished it off. The last I showed you, I had put the skim of grout on the surface, and I've now given it a wash of a medium grey paint, acrylic. Now you can see one of the benefits of the tile grout. If I bring this up a little bit closer, the imperfections in the spreading, particularly around this ramp area here, can you see that there, you know, in around these sections here, once you put that wash over it, the paint is sort of drawn into the edges of that and brings out and highlights those undulations on the surface. So I think that makes quite a nice finish for the top of it. So that's going to go there. This week I bought a yard crane, and I've opted for the Wills SS51 yard crane. I had looked at the ratio ones, but I felt they were going to be too big for what I was needing, and I'm thinking this crane will probably go down and around here, somewhere around here. I guess maybe it shouldn't go too far down because the loading vehicles are going to be along this side primarily, so we'll build this anyway and we'll have a look at it. A couple of other things I've been thinking about for the yard. I also picked up this Coopercraft lorry trailer. It's kit number 4012, and I think it just might make a nice wee detail in the actual yard itself. Perhaps it's a little bit run down, some grass sort of climbing up in around it, and that, you know, it sort of has been abandoned in this yard for some years, because at the end of the day this yard's going to be in the 60s, so I dare say that the use of the yard is probably going to be fairly limited. If I move the camera back out a little bit, if I can, I'm in the process of making the coal stays which will sit here, and I actually am putting together another video for that, so that'll come separately. And then the other thing that I'm going to have decided to do is the cobblestones, and with the peculiar shapes that we have here, I've come up with a way of hopefully drawing out the cobblestones. So if I set the camera back down, straighten you up a wee bit. Oops. Assuming this is the final position of it, I can mark it out, but what I can do is take some sheets of paper, and there's actually just a slight gap in underneath these walls. I can get that in there. Now if I lay that down there, put the platform back to where I think it's going to be, and I draw a line round this here, and take it away, that's my template for cutting out the cobblestones. That's the theory. I'm going to go away and have a go at that and see if it works. Back soon. Okay, this will be the last bit of the update for this video. I've been rambling on about this wee section now for a good 10 minutes or so. By the time I put everything else onto it, I think that'll do for an update for this month. So I have the template sorted out for the cobblestones. Nice purple card to work with. Not going to miss that one. So if that goes there, the platform sits on there, and then we have another section just here. I can now use these templates to lay the cobbles. Now I think for the cobbles, it's the wool sheets that I'm using. I think I need approximately 9 of these sheets to complete the area. I think what I'll have to do is sort of lay them parallel to the end of the road section. So I'll have to make the relevant cuts using the templates. And I think what I'll do is, if I take one of these, okay, so if I run it parallel to that, if I set that on there, now I'm not going to use the curved edges to it, it's just going to be the cobbles itself. If I run that parallel to there, mark out what I need to cut, that's the first section. Now if I do it on top, that maybe make it sound a bit clearer, because what I need to do is you need to cut it from behind. If you cut it, you're better cutting these sheets from behind rather than above, because there's a certain amount of movement on the plastic and it lifts up, and I don't want that on the upper side. At least on the underside we can sand that away to make it smooth again. On the upper side it's a bit more difficult, or you start damaging the effect of the cobbles. So if I do it from underneath, say just like that there, mark a line on this piece of card as well, which is the template, and cut that away. Well then whenever I come to do the next one, if you imagine this is already gone, that'll be the next stage, and I just work it across. And the only thing I maybe need to do on this side is to make sure that whenever 2 cobbles are going together, that we keep the run of the cobbles going. I don't want it sort of to knock it out, you know, that it's, say like that there. I want to keep that run of cobbles going as best as we can. Any gaps in the cobbles, well, that's the only other thing, is you're going to sort of get this distinct line where you know where there's been a cobble sheet. So I maybe have to try and disguise that somehow, but I'll come to that later on. We'll maybe talk about that next time. Look, this has been going on long enough. So that's where we are on the goods yard. I have a couple of other things that I want to speak about in the update just before I finish, so we need to stop this now, and we'll come back to this next month. Okay? Okay, so other than working at this this goods yard over the last month, there probably really hasn't been an awful lot else to show you construction wise on the layout. The back of the layout there where you see the newspaper is sitting ready to go with the plaster bandage. I need to get that done really before I start doing the cobblestones in the goods yard area, and I should really tackle that soon. The only thing that's put me off it, to be honest, is it's always a bit messy to work with, you know, and you're having to cover the entire surface just to make sure you don't drop plaster in that anywhere. But I can't put it off much longer. I do want to get these cobbles down, and if I get that down and get the ballasting done along this section of track 2, it means I can actually start looking at doing some static grass. And I keep mentioning that in all these layout updates, but I've never actually got round to doing it. And I know that it'll just bring it to life if I get the static grass onto it. So one of the things I think I need to do over the next month, get that section finished there with the plaster bandage, do the ballasting in front of that, and then we can start looking at the cobblestones. And because we have the cobblestones going down, we can then at least even get static grass on this embankment. Some of these other sections I still need to hold off in the static grass until I get the road surfaces done. This surface here can't be done until I start actually looking at the station building. I have the station in mind that I want to use. If I can put a picture over the top of this, I will do. I don't honestly know if I can with the app that I use, but I'll try that. If not, I'll come back to it at a later date. I can do the plaster work on the road section at the top end there, and certainly down to here, but I maybe want to wait until I at least get the first section of cobbles in, because then I can blend it all in together. The only other thing I've been doing this month, I've been doing a little bit of experimenting with track weathering. Now I don't know if you can notice much of a difference, but let's see if I pull it back out a wee bit. So bottom half of the screen here, I haven't done any weathering to it. From about here right up to the level crossing I have. Now all I have done, let's see if we can go in a bit closer and see. What I've done is the colour I've been using for the rail sides, the acrylic colour, I've basically just done a dry brush along the edge of the sleepers and sort of onto the ballast, both sides. Now like I said, it doesn't show up just as well on the camera here, but certainly to my eye here it's a vast improvement, and it's the sort of colour that I'm looking for. It's a branch line, it's not getting an awful lot of use, so I want that rusty look. I'm certainly looking at the lines that I have, or the railway line that's close to my house, which is a branch line. It only has a train travelling on it once every hour, and there's not a massive amount of use on it, and that's what I'm trying to replicate here as well. So yeah, it's maybe not sort of coming across that well, but that's been tackled, and like I say, it's been a simple dry brushing method. I had put together a wee video showing the technique of it, but again, because of the lighting issues and that, it just really wasn't coming out right, so I just left it. But I'll maybe come back to that at a later date and try it again. But anyway, look, that's the layout update for this month. Thank you if you've made it this far. I think it's a bit longer than my usual updates. Again, it's my usual slow process of working through all of this, but sure, I'm not in any hurry, and hopefully yous aren't either. So thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a comment, they're always appreciated. If you haven't already subscribed, please click the subscribe button if you would like to follow more progress on the layout. And until next time, I'll see you then. Thanks now. Bye.